Hello everybody, Sir Beaton here, and today we will be heading into the world of matrices, and specifically in this video we will be looking at addition and subtraction of matrices. Now there are some important things that we need to have before we can do that, and we'll explore that in this video. So first of all, what is a matrix? Now it says a matrix is a rectangular array of numbers or letters consisting of rows and columns enclosed in a pair of curved or squared brackets and is usually denoted by a capital letter. So it's an array of numbers inside of brackets, and there are ways of naming the matrices that we will look at just now. So that is basically what a matrix is, an array of numbers or letters. So the next important thing that we should know about matrix is the order of the matrix. Now the order of the matrix is the number of rows times the number of columns. Now it's important to know how to state the order because in future questions the order plays an important role. So the first one, so it says it's the number of rows times the number of columns. So we know for rows we can think of the number 7. If you want to decide, if you want to remember which one is rows and which one is columns, just think of the number 7. Rows would be across, columns would be down. Rows across, columns down. So let's go. Let's state the order of these matrices that I have here. So the first one, I have this matrix and I want to state the order. So the number of rows that I have here would be 1, 2. So I have 2 rows. So it should be 2 multiplied by the number of columns would be, I count down 1, 2. So I have 2 columns as well. So the number of rows is 2, the number of columns is 2. So this matrix here is a 2 by 2 matrix. And let's look at the next question. So the number of rows here will be across. So I have 1, 2 rows. So this will be 2 multiplied by the number of columns would be, I come down 1, 2, 3. So this will be a 2 multiplied by 3, which would be a 2 by 3 matrix. So the next example would be the number of rows I have to come across. So I go 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 rows. And the number of columns would be 1, 2 columns multiplied by 2. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. So it's important to remember how to determine the orders, the number of rows. Just think of the number 7, you come across and then you come down. Number 7, come across and then come down. You count across, you count all the rows across, and then you count all the ones down, and that would give you the number of rows by the number of columns. So with that understanding, let's move on to some addition and subtracting. So for the addition and subtraction of matrices, there is something important thing that we need to remember. Only matrices of the same order can be added or subtracted. They must be of the same order. So if it's a 2 by 2, then if you want to add another matrix to that, that matrix must also be a 2 by 2. So I have an example here. Given A is equal to 1, 3, 5, 2, B is equal to 2, 4, 1, 3, and C is equal to -2, -4, 4, and 5. Determine A plus B. So A plus B would simply be the matrix A, which is 1, 3, 5, 2, plus the matrix B, which will be 2, 4, 1, 3. And we want to add these two together. So the important thing of adding matrices is that we add the corresponding elements. And what do I mean by corresponding elements? So let me choose a different color. So I mean, if this is here, we'll add that to the first one here as well. So in this case, it will be 2 plus 1, or 1 plus 2, which will be 1 plus 2 would be 3. And I add this one here with this one here. So this will be 3 plus 4, which is 7. And then I add the other corresponding element. So this will be 5. And of course, this will be added with the 1. So 5 plus 1 is 6. And I add the last one, which is 2 and 3. So 2 plus 3 would be 5. And that is why the matrices must be the same order, because we have to add corresponding elements in the matrix. Of course, if it's not the same order, some of the elements in one of the matrix will not correspond to any in the other one, so they must be of the same order. So let's look at the subtraction. How the subtraction will be the same thing. So you have B, which is 2, 4, 1, and 3. Subtract C, which is -2, -4, 4, and 5. So with these kind of matrices, you have to be careful. So I'll do an extra step to make sure that we are careful. So let's subtract the corresponding elements. So this will be, so I'll subtract 2. It will be 2, subtract, and I have a -2 here. So this will be a -2. And then for this one, it will be 4, subtract, and -4. So this will be a -4. Then I have the other corresponding, which is 1. So it will be 1, subtract 4. And last but not least, 3, subtract 5. And then I work it out. So 2 subtract -2. So these two here will cancel out and give you a plus. So 2 plus 2 would give me 4. Then I have two negatives again. So negative and negative will cancel and give me a plus. So 4 plus 4 would give me 8. And then 1 subtract 4 would give me a -3. And 3 subtract 5 would give me a -2. And that would be the answer for B, subtract C. So when we have subtraction and when we have negative and positive signs, it's important to put in that extra step, because you want to make sure you're doing the correct thing. Unlike this one here, which is just normal positive numbers you're adding, we could have left out that step and just add. But in this case, we had negative and positive numbers and we were subtracting. So we put in this extra step to make sure that we are going correct. So let's look at another example. This other one says, so we have a 2 by 3 matrix and a 2 by 3 matrix. So we'll add again. So this will be equal to, so we're adding these two. So let me put back the square brackets in this case. So it's -2 plus a -2. Then we'll have the 2 plus 6. Then we'll have the 3 plus the -3. So 3 plus -3. Then we move to the bottom row. So we -2 plus 2. Then we have 5 plus -1. Then we have 4, -4 actually, plus a -5. And then we work out this here now. So this will be equal to -2 plus a -2. So this negative and this positive will turn into a negative. So it's -2 subtract 2, which will just simply give me a -4. Then you have 2 plus 6, which will give me 8. And 3 plus a -3. So a negative and a positive will cancel to give me a negative. So 3 minus 3 will give me 0. So -2 plus 2 would also give me a 0. And 5 plus -1. So this positive and this negative will cancel out to give me a negative. So 5 minus 1 would be 4. And then we have -4 plus -5. So the negative and the positive will cancel out to give me a negative. So -4 minus 5 would give me a -9. And that would be the answer for this matrix here. So this step is important. So let's look at another example to cement this concept. So we have here a 1, 2, 3, a 3 by 1 matrix plus a 3 by 1 matrix. So they can go. So of course we'll subtract, in this case we'll subtract the corresponding elements. So let's subtract. So we have -5 subtract a negative 1. Then we have 3 subtract a negative 5. Then we have 6 subtract 6. So this will work out and give us negative 5 subtract a negative 1. So this negative with this negative will turn into a positive. So negative 5 plus 1 would be a negative 4. Then we have 3 subtract negative 5. So this negative and this negative will turn into a positive again. So 3 plus 5 would give me 8. And then 6 subtract 6 would be 0. And that would be the answer when we add this matrix. So the thing is, when we add or subtract two matrices of the same order, the answer will be the same order. So here I have some questions for you to practice on your own to make sure that you understand how to add and subtract matrices. And with that, this has brought me to the end of this video. So remember, the key thing in this video, when we're adding or subtracting matrices, they must be of the same order. And to get the order of a matrix, you just think of the number 7, you count all the rows across and multiply it by all the columns down. So it's row by column. So with that, this has brought me to the end, and I will see you in the next video. I trust that you now have a good understanding of matrices. Take care.